Hey everyone, I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about The Black Coat's Daughter. And this movie came out in 2015, and I've never seen this movie before, but it's been on my watch list for a while, and it was just recommended to me if like you like A24 horror movies, and I was just curious to check it out, and now I finally have, and I think this is the first A24 film that I don't like, unfortunately, because it does kind of have the tone of a film that would come from them. And I do like how this movie is paced. It's very slow and it feels intentional. Like you're supposed to feel as though there's like this slowly building tension building up in the film. And eventually it's supposed to pay off. And I liked the idea of doing that. And I felt as though I got what was intended. There are things to like about the movie, like there are some good performances in the film, and I liked the ideas in the story, what like few ideas that they had, and there was some creepy imagery as well, and that was about it. And most of the movie was really boring. I didn't find any of the characters to be interesting, and that's a big problem for me because sure, you could say A24 films that they're like weird and just not typical horror movies, like what you would expect, just waiting for jump scares or anything like that. They don't really have much of a structure of what you would expect, and that's normally what I like about them. And in this movie, you get that to some extent, but I don't feel as though there's any point in doing that in this movie after watching it, because after you watch the movie, it doesn't really feel like you were supposed to be getting much from it. It just felt like it was consistently building to something, but in the end, I just didn't feel as though it paid off. And like I said already, I didn't really find any of the characters to be interesting, and that's a big problem because normally I am engaged with like what's going on with the characters. Like It Comes at Night, for example. I'm into the story and I liked the characters and I found them interesting, and the environment that they were trapped in, all that worked for me. And The Lighthouse, one of my favorite movies ever made. Really great performances, great atmosphere, and great dialogue, and it's just compelling all the way through for me. Great music as well. It's very well shot, and it has everything that I'm looking for, and it's selling it to me. And that's why that movie works so well for me, or at least a few of the reasons why. There's like other reasons why it works for me, but I already reviewed that movie on my channel, so I'm not going to get too into it right now. But point is, so what I'm trying to making is, those are just what I get out of these types of movies that don't really follow a traditional narrative structure. Whereas this movie, it just doesn't feel like it has much of a purpose. It doesn't feel as though like I'm getting much out of it. Sure, there's like some creepy moments that work pretty well, but there's only like 3 in the entire movie, and the movie is super slow. And I was kind of with it for like the first half hour or so, but after a while I was just getting really impatient with it, and about an hour in I knew exactly where it was going, and the way it's telling its story is just, there's no point to it. Like, it's showing the story from like 2 different perspectives, and by the end of the film, why did you do that? Like, you didn't build up to anything. It didn't feel as though like I was getting any payoff, really. It's just you did things and that's it. Like I'm not really scared by anything, and I'm just left wondering, what was I supposed to get out of it? I didn't feel like I got an experience out of it. I just felt as though I was waiting the entire time for something to happen, and nothing ever happened. And I also feel as though this movie was just banking on being incredibly shocking, and there are a couple moments where it is kind of shocking, but once you see that, it's not shocking anymore if you were to rewatch the film, because you see these things coming, and now that you know what it is, like, is it really that shocking that something like that happened in the movie? Like in a movie like The Lighthouse, there are some shocking things in there, and they're still shocking to me that they're in there, but it's terrifying and like it always works for me, and it earns these moments every time I watch the film. Like the horror to the comedy in that movie, everything. This movie, no. There's no comedy, which is fine. It doesn't need comedy necessarily, but every character in this movie kind of talks the same, just very dry and like depressed, and to some extent that makes sense, but like when you do that with every character, it just gets kind of boring and just repetitive, and not much is added to it. And overall, I think one of the bigger reasons as to why this movie didn't work for me is because there's just too little going on. It's like it didn't need to be feature length. It could have been a short film, and I think it would have helped the movie out a lot more. It really didn't need to be a feature film. Could have been a short film and maybe be half an hour long at most, and you have a pretty solid movie at least. But that's not what we got here. We got a lot of stuff that didn't matter, and lots of things going on, and it's just trying to be shocking, and after you see the movie once, then you watch it again, it's no longer shocking, and it's just kind of dull and boring and just wasting your time. So unfortunately, I cannot recommend that you check this movie out. It just wasn't worth my time, and I was just bored to tears. So with all that being said, I'm going to give The Black Coat's Daughter a 5 out of 10. Thank you for watching my videos as always. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below you thought of The Black Coat's Daughter, and my social media links, they will all be in the description, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation, and I'll see you when I get my next review up, and that is going to be for Scary Movie 4. So look forward to that, but until I get that up, thank you for watching and have a great day.